7 p.m. Kick off the December 2nd meeting of the Old Saybrook Planning Commission. And as I read off the names, let me know that you're here. Douglas McCracken. Here. Paul McKay.
Here.
Kathleen Sugden.
Here.
Jonathan Miles. Here. Michael Bender. Here. Megan Duflis.
Yeah.
And Dennis Colomero. Here. All right. Can I get a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes as written.
Thank you. Second, thank you. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains?
I abstain, it's not here.
Okay, very good. Well, we will go on to the third order of business, or C, as the first two have withdrawn.
The second one, you need to make a motion to continue.
Okay, so we will go to number 2, or B as in boy, SPR Oasis LLC. I'd like to make a motion to extend until continue.
January 4th, second.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? Okay, so moved.
That is January 4th, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. And now we'll move on to Max's Place application. Attorney David Royston is here representing his client. I'm going to turn it over to Attorney Royston.
Okay, thank you very much. I am the attorney for both Max's Place and Big Y Foods, Inc., which is a co-applicant, and it's actually the primary applicant. Big Y Food Services, Inc. own the property, which we have characterized on maps as the Flanagan piece. It's a now vacant office building on the right-hand side as you go up Spencer Plains Road. And it is actually a house which was an office that is now vacant. Big Y purchased that piece of property. And this application makes it part of the shopping center. And the actual piece incorporates the area to the south of the Flanagan piece, which is part of the shopping center, which is simply a open grass area at the present time. And it is for this reason, because it will be incorporated into the shopping center, that Max's Place LLC is a co-applicant. As the commission may be aware that we came before you for an application to remove the restriction on distances between gas. And that was because of the site of desired gas on the same property, the same area of the property, was within 1,000 feet of the gas pumps on the food bank and the Boston Post Road, correct? And so the application is provided some action to the zoning commission to approve that regulation, and all of them were denied. The only stated reasons for the record were that we didn't need any more gas stations in Old Saybrook, and that it was a short-term proposition. And by short-term proposition, based on some of the discussion at the public hearing, is that the chair considered that EV vehicles would make gas stations obsolete. It was never stated as such, but that was the criteria. That decision is unappealed, is on appeal. And in the meantime, Big Y in particular wishes to get the convenience store approved on its own. And that will also require a special exception, which has been applied for, and that's why we're here. It will also still require straight traffic authority, the state traffic authority or stuff to modify the permit to approve this entry. It's also subject to the zoning commission public hearing in January. So here we are, and rather than do my usual to give you a handout, which I quote from the plan of development, I thought it might be easier just to pass these out. And I think I got enough copies there, everybody in one for the record. That where I simply highlighted on the strategic plan, your updated plan of conservation and development. I couldn't find a version where it's been incorporated into the old one. I know it's been updated, but I think this is the main one which has been adopted as part of the ongoing
This is the economic development section
that's the
of the plan of conservation and development.
development.
That's correct.
Correct, yeah, and
It has not been merged together. as of yet.
yeah, I didn't think so, and that's why I just relied essentially on this one, because it's really what we're talking about.
Mhm.
And just going very quickly to page 2, it notes right in the beginning that all Saybrook must respond to immediate and impending changes. And then it also says the town must diversify commercial and industrial sectors while preserving and enhancing the reason we choose to live here, the community character, the natural beauty, sectional public schools, the recreational opportunities and convenient location. What is I think impending as an impending change, which I think we are already seeing, is the continued or increased dependence upon the online shopping and use of vehicle for things as grocery pickups, pickup of items that may have been ordered at the online at the merchants. You know, Walmart does that, Kohl's does that. And basically, it's a shopping by automobile and convenience stores are obviously consistent with that. And it creates a economic opportunity, which I do not believe impacts this particular one. Does not impact the natural beauty, exceptional public schools, etc. The character of the town. Then go to the page 9, the next page, which brings out the point that home-based cottage industries, agriculture, and aquaculture businesses can grow because of Old Saybrook's role as a regional commercial hub. This is something which the planning commission came up with, which I had not kind of factored in or considered. But I think it's absolutely true that being the commercial hub, and we are, and our plan of development says we should continue to do that, not to do things to eliminate our commercial identity. And one of the reasons is because it attracts other businesses. That because people will be coming to Old Saybrook, gives other businesses in town, which may not be at Country Plains Road or in the village, but are in other areas. It gives them a reason to come to Old Saybrook. If we weren't a commercial hub, some of those businesses might not come. Over to the right on page 9, talks about business retention and talk with business owners regularly to respond to their needs. Well, you've talked to us several, probably 4 at least occasions in the recent past, and I don't know if Matt DeMore is on, but I have called upon him in the past, and if he isn't here, then as I said to him today, I said I will be repeating what I have said and what you have said many occasions, which is that basically convenience stores are part of their model. Now they want to have convenience stores, and they want to have convenience stores with gas, which is not here, but they want to have convenience stores with their operation, their grocery store operation, because that is the trend. People are going to want to have the ability to make a convenience purchases, and but they just, having done that, they go right by it to go to the grocery store for more for other purchases. So that there is a synergy in that. You go to the actual part about the Spencer Plains, which is you identified the sections, maybe the Spencer Plains section started on page 40, and on the first page 40 is just the picture or an overhead shot of that roadway, and in particular the commercial businesses on it, and you can just see the actually you can see the Flanagan piece, and you can see in blue is an area which is the adjacent Max's Place property, which is undeveloped. Then finally on page 41, the plan of development says as to where you are, the town effectively reimagined, redesigned, and redeveloped the layout of traditional strip center shopping in an automobile-dominated place of business. Today, these simple design choices accentuate how businesses put their customers' feet on the street. Major retailers line the street with wide decorative sidewalks, safe street crossing, colorful awnings, and shared driveway for cars at the community center. Now, some of you may be aware of the early regulation changes concerning the pedestrian nodes, and that particular legislation provided for a 10-foot setback for the buildings to be accessible from the street and having parking in the back. And that is how Max's Place was developed. It participated in the adoption of that regulation, and it was the first business that was approved under that regulation. One of the things which, in hindsight, they allowed it up to 10 feet. But I think a greater setback to allow more landscaping would have been appropriate. If you look at going up Spencer Plains Road, it seems to me, just as an observer and a citizen, they've done it very nicely according to what the approval was in the regulations. But it might look nicer if there were about 5 feet more of setback. So you have the sidewalk, which is a part of the 10 feet, and then it limits the area for landscaping. So, but they still have the option. And on this one, I would just ask you to look at on the site plan LS1, which is the landscaping. That's the landscaping detail and the plans you have. And I think you can see, particularly from there's also a sheet that gives you the details of what each one of these plant species are. But I think it demonstrates that this is basically heavily landscaped, and also it will have from the site plan, there's seating areas for outside, which are likely to have colored awnings on both the east and west side of the building. So I think that this certainly is consistent with those provisions of the new plan, and your landscape complete streets, which for all users with landscaping improvements. So I would be happy to answer any questions. And I do want to observe to the record that I think I am the only person here who has a recollection of the 1941 December 7th. I do. Vague. I was only 3, but I have a vague recollection.
Yeah. So I have a question. Right now, where this proposed convenience store was originally supposed to be a convenience store and gas station. And you appealed the decision from the zoning board.
Right.
How does that change this plan if you win your appeal?
What it says, basically, if we win the appeal, or we are also had a preliminary discussion on another revised regulation, and that regulation would require to have if you're going to have 10 gas pumps, you have at least 5 EV charging stations within adjacent or in proximity to it. That has not yet been done, but if the appeal is successful, or the appeal becomes smooth because a new regulation is done, there would have to then be another special exception to convert the island, which I think on the T1 is or the area to the right of it is area for future development.
Okay.
So, short answer, we'll be back, but we're gonna have to go through all the things, procedures to add something, there, whether it be gas or whether it be another, building.
Yeah.
We'd have to come back, and it would then have to meet all the requirements of the regulations for shopping.
Mhm. Okay. And you're showing that you're exiting and entering from Spencer Plain Road, but that has to be decided by the state, so that's not a given.
That's not a given, and, I should emphasize this, this is one of the things which, in the traffic report.
Yeah.
Which is part of the application, and, I want to make sure we have another sheet that shows it. It's right-hand turn,
Right, you're only going in
correct,
if you're going north on Spencer Plains. And you're only allowed to
right
go
out,
out, you're only allowed to go out going north.
that is
So
correct.
you're not crossing Spencer Plains.
You're coming south.
Yeah.
A left-hand turn would come in to the southerly entrance.
South.
Yeah, I know what he's talking about. So if you're coming south off 95,
Yeah,
they show two. The southernmost entrance, that's your entrance. You can make a left into there. Just like they do into Dunkin' Donuts.
so, okay, so you can make a left and
Into,
cross Spencer Plain into,
Yes,
but you can't exit and cross Spencer Plain.
that is correct.
Now, will there be another driveway? If you want to, say you want to make a left-hand turn when you're leaving,
no,
is there gonna be another driveway on the back that you
No.
can exit out of?
Yes and no.
Okay,
There exists, what you would need to do
go to the
if
left.
you come in, you take a left and you go up.
There's
and
five
go
guys
out,
and all
Yeah,
the beauty,
right.
where the light
Between
is.
them, take a left, come down, or as I say, the natives know, you would go, continue, go around behind the shopping center onto Center Road West.
Yeah.
Center Road and take a left at that
Right.
light.
You come
That
across,
is-
you come across from Denver or something like that.
No, the
No,
light
yeah.
here is further down.
Further down, yeah.
Further down.
At-
yeah.
Near the pizza place, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and it's probably, I think it's probably quicker, and it's obviously safer, they wouldn't allow it. Than to either take a left out or go all the way up, go out.
Yeah.
Wait for that light, go down, wait for another.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moving parts. I'm sorry, Paul. Go ahead.
I was simply gonna say on the map or on one of these LA1, it does look like there are two entryways directly out onto the street. Am I?
One's an entry, one's an exit. One's an entry. Both ways.
Oh, okay, there is an exit. Okay, so
Yeah.
someone could come out and just cross the lane if they chose to do it immediately.
Yeah,
No, they do it all the time at
I
Dunkin'
know,
Donuts.
Right.
they do it all.
Yeah, I was
the
gonna say,
time.
yeah, it happens all the time.
don't, no, but not from here.
Are you saying because of the way you're gonna design the exit, or you're just gonna have a sign?
No, well, the exit will be designed similar to
The way the entrance is designed?
right on the Boston Post Road. Okay, you have the right-hand turn only out onto the Boston Post Road from the shopping center on Elm and Boston Post Road.
Mhm.
Okay, and if you
Okay,
take a look at that is designed that way.
Yeah.
So that it becomes
It forces you to make that right.
it
then.
really forces you to make the turn. And, I think on the traffic report, that diagram shows that better and also shows the.
Yeah, probably better than that.
There will be signage.
Yeah.
It will be, located that way. And in particular, it will be the, like that northerly one. Well, not-
Right.
Got the other.
I mean, will someone do it? Yes, someone will.
Right.
There's just so much you can do, you know that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the one that I'm aware of, because I don't think it forces it as much, is by, the Aspen. The restaurant, coming out that way, that's a left-hand,
No, right there.
right-hand turn only, but it doesn't really, force you.
No, it's not.
So a lot of
Down
that-
there all the time.
A lot of,
Just
Is that on the record?
knowing the area.
Yeah.
4 ins and outs within 150 feet, that's heavy. You know,
True.
I'm sure like pedestrian, like if I'm walking
Right.
from Spencer Plains Road, I gotta cross.
Right, you got-
I gotta cross 2 driveways, now we have to cross the drive-through lane, just to get to the front door of this
Right.
convenience store.
Right.
So I'm crossing the street plus 4.
far be it for me, I've seen plenty of traffic studies, but it almost makes sense to do away with that exit only.
Yeah.
And send it back to the parking lot.
And that's
well,
up to the state.
Right.
I mean, that's not ours.
Right.
yeah,
We're just working on a referral.
Well, we can make a recommendation.
Yes.
Can't we?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll admit, I was surprised the in and out there. And you have an entrance on Boston Post Road to the market
Yeah.
that could be used if you're coming from this direction. you know.
Right, but from a retail standpoint, that doesn't serve their purpose.
No, because
No, I
Because the
understand,
entrance
but
up-
there's the main entrance into the shopping area that. You could use just like going to the.
I agree.
with the.
This is right on the corner, right past the Dunkin' Donuts.
Right,
Agreed.
People are coming south on Spencer Plains and they're gonna be turning left. The traffic's already backed up there.
And
that is. A determination that has to be made, I think, by the state traffic.
I agree.
Because that's their jurisdiction.
right.
Right, I understand. I guess I'm just trying to state what I'm seeing in our referral. Also, in consideration of what may be across the street from Benny's, this is a very complex intersection.
Oh, yeah.
potentially.
Yeah.
So to have this in and out here, I don't think is,
Yeah.
that's feasible. But I'm not a traffic engineer. It's,
from me, I'd almost take this and move it up here,
Um,
all the way up here. And then put your spots back down here, because every time I drive by, there is no one parked over here.
they're taking part of that away.
No, all the way up by,
They're taking
To vote,
They're taking away 58 spaces. So they're taking up a lot of what you're already looking at.
right,
They're already doing that.
I'll tell you, I'm not a traffic engineer, either, okay? But one thing I recognize, having, a daughter who lives in Indiana, Virginia, and looking at what we have here for heavy traffic area is nothing
Well,
like there are in other places. And what it is, what it really ends up is, and this is what the state traffic commission standards are. It is level of service.
Mhm.
And level of service is how long do you have to wait? And if you have a nat lane, what they will be concerned about is coming down to the left-hand turn. They do not want to have or to allow it to be at a level which will impact other cars being able to get into the left-hand lane?
Again, I'm no traffic engineer either, but I can tell you from experience, this light at Boston Post Road, the left turn signal, maybe let 4 cars through.
If you,
Yeah,
if the first one's paying attention.
Okay, but see, that's not the standard.
Right, no,
agree.
You know what I mean?
we're going off track,
Sorry.
I understand. Yeah,
Yeah, no, we're clear.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, I just,
yeah, so with the drive-through lane. How many cars are you expecting and have you provided enough space for them to queue up? Because I know we have a big problem with Dunkin' Donuts
again,
in McDonald's.
that is in the traffic report.
Okay.
And I am familiar with the Dunkin' Donuts.
Mhm.
I represented the applicant. It's not the same traffic engineer. And I have seen on occasion, the biggest problem is left-hand turn in coming east
Mhm.
into it, and there is, before you get up to the drive-through lane, you have to pass a lane of interior traffic.
Mhm.
And what happens is if that lane of interior traffic stops, because there, from that point on, there's not enough room. What happens? You get
Yeah, no.
potential of cars out in.
Well, yes, and at Dunkin' Donuts, they have traffic pulling out into what in essence is the drive-through lane. Because they have the parking right in front of the building. And when it backs up, but anyways.
Yeah,
so
that's,
back, then my other question around the drive-through lane is this wide enough? Because people who order ahead want to be able to cut in line. Is that provided for here? Like they do at Dunkin' Donuts?
no, there is, no. There are a couple of things which I would point out. In the original approval,
Mhm.
the access for a potential connection to Dunkin' Donuts
Mhm.
was provided for. And in the original special exception, if there is a requirement of the entry,
Mhm.
it's, they've put space for it. How that would get required becomes an issue, but this plan still maintains that connection. Number one. Okay. So not even getting into that factor more specifically to your question.
Mhm.
The traffic engineers who did the report, and I said, look, there is going to be an issue, because I'm sure the zoning commission has the same information or experience as you do, and you have to demonstrate that the queuing line
Mhm.
is sufficient so that you do not have traffic coming out.
Right.
And I said, you've got to be prepared to do that. And he said, we have sufficient. So that, I mean, that's what I can tell you. And I would have, I think it's appropriate. I would hope you approve this, but you also are allowed to make recommendations. I think the recommendation is to assure that the queuing line does not affect, does not extend out into spent lanes.
Well, my other concern, of course, is the width of the drive-through lane. If you have pre-ordered and you, like you do with Dunkin' Donuts, you can drive by all the cars that are waiting in line and merge in. I don't see that you have enough space for that. And I don't know what's going to be this drive-through place, so I don't know if they have that, but almost all do. Where you can order ahead. And cut in line.
I don't have any problem with, I know the, over at the Dunkin' Donuts, they have, I'm not sure it's for pre-orders, actually for larger orders, but maybe the same thing. They do have a, cut around.
Yeah, that's for pre-orders, that's what I'm talking about.
Pre-order, yeah, okay,
I don't see that here, that's what concerns me.
same thing. I have no problem with a recommendation, to that effect, and,
I mean, I'm assuming this is going to be some sort of quick service restaurant.
yeah.
Okay, it's not part of the convenience store.
If you have a drive-through, I doubt it's gonna be a pharmacy, I doubt it's gonna be a.
I do.
It's more,
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Pharmacy or a bank.
It's gonna be a pharmacy or?
No, yeah, instead of Obed.
I don't
Not
know,
a convenience store, it's a separate.
It's
it's a separate.
definitely part of the building, yeah.
Yeah, separate tenant.
Okay,
But
So even though we're not approving this, there's a moratorium on drive-through windows now, right?
they were in before the moratorium.
that's right.
Okay.
Or a moratorium is a regulation change.
Yeah.
And that it's treated just as a regulation change. And the statute says, regulation changes will not affect applications which have been.
And right, and there are two, this one and SPR.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, so, okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, you may have stated it, but back to the exit that goes right, so there's nothing stopping shoppers at the big store from using that exit. Cutting through there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It
so
could
I
become
would just-
very busy, yeah.
Yeah, I would just echo.
That would be, it would be, it's a question of.
Do you want to get the light over
practicality.
here?
If you want to go north, okay, I think you're far more likely to go up and out, the exit at 54 Alpha. If you're gonna go,
Until they realize they can sneak out here. But I agree with you.
well, if they sneak out here. We'll have to do a time trial.
Yes, we will.
with that. I think going out the back.
Never seen me drive, so.
Megan has her hand up.
Yes, Megan,
Thank you.
sorry.
No
ignoring.
problem. I miss a little not being in the room.
You do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I just wanted to bring it back really quickly to our economic development plan, because if we don't use it, who's going to, right? So we heard some excerpts, which I do appreciate, but I just want to state that I think the interpretation, especially of the Spencer Plains Gateway section, is going the wrong direction. And this may be unpopular. I may be the only one who thinks this, but I'm going to throw it out there anyways. It states that the area is for experience-driven design that anchors and blends uses at Spencer Plain Gateway. Mixed-use development will round out the existing mix of retail and neighborhoods of single-family homes. Living and working in place supports high-end retailers, sit-down restaurants, fitness centers, theaters, salons, and more. The town will encourage development of first-class retail, office, and living space at the Spencer Plains Gateway. And then it also talks about, to enhance Spencer Plains' identity as a mixed-use destination, developers should be encouraged to accommodate both autos and pedestrians. And the pedestrian node section says, allow a mix of uses at intersections with Route 1 to encourage street-oriented development that includes accessory and affordable apartments. And it says buildings should be along the roadway and clustered to create open spaces, inviting outdoor seating for restaurants and safe pathways for pedestrians and bikers. The town will encourage development of buildings along the streetscape clustered to create open spaces for seating, pathways, and shared parking. So I guess I just don't see how a drive-through fits into that description. And I understand that the uses that are there now are more auto-oriented than what is envisioned for the future. But as a planner by profession, I am trained to think towards what could be as opposed to what currently exists on site. So I just wanted to state that for the group and for the record for consideration.
And just respond to that.
Absolutely.
One of the dilemmas that I always find in reading plans of development and what have you is when they say what are desired uses, it is virtually impossible to meet every single one of the elements. And for example, I'm thinking this about residential component to some of this dwellings over commercial establishment. Yes, if you can have the right opportunity, but here we're talking about a very small a piece of property. That Flanagan piece is a very small piece, and it's very difficult to accomplish all the desired effects. We accomplish, if somebody were just going to come in for that house and say it's was an office and we're reopening it as an office, none of the benefits that are shown here would apply, but all the detriments would still be there. You'd have that driveway, you'd have just a business with none of the other benefits. So are we accomplishing everything? Certainly not. And I think that the point is well taken if you say that this is if you say that this only accomplishes some of the criteria, and hopefully when the applicant comes in to develop any other portion of this property, because there's still an undeveloped section to the east that they take into consideration some of the things you mentioned. And part of my job in advising clients is to, in advance, bring to their attention some of these things that they're going to have to meet. So.
Understood, and I appreciate that. My particular concern with this is the pedestrians with regards to a drive-through.
Now, is there any sidewalks?
There is.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a sidewalk on the Spencer Plain
Okay,
behind the building that has the pet shop and Bobcat.
Okay.
Right, stop the
Stuff to the road.
I mean, I share a lot of the same concerns that Megan has. I don't think this meets this pedestrian oriented development. And as we're looking at these applications in terms of alignment to the plan of development, does this meet all the things in there? No, but if it really move us closer towards that vision, I really don't know if it does either. And I think we should kind of, sort of revisit the way this is kind of built as it's drawn out here.
True, but I also think on the other side, we need to revisit that statement about sit-down restaurants, because people are moving away from using sit-down restaurants and are looking for the convenience of a drive-through. Remember, this was written back in 2020.
Right.
True, however, does that really, do drive-throughs really contribute to the character and the reason that we enjoy coming to Old Saybrook, or are drive-throughs more something that you find in any town USA?
Well, but I think if you follow that, yeah, you can find them anywhere in USA, but your plan of development says being a commercial hub, that is, being the place where they have these things, is something that should be retained. And I think you have to look at it if you're saying we ought to eliminate drive-throughs. No, I'm saying I agree with that.
I didn't say that.
I You won't say that, but you'll say, well, I'd like to restrict them. Make it less likely that they will be there, okay, but that is counter really to the plan of development statement that we want to retain this as the commercial hub. You want people to come here. And you say, well, it's like every place else, other towns will have drive-through. Well, if we don't have them, they're gonna go to the other town. That is not what your plan of development says that we want, and I call it your plan of development that say we want, because I'm a resident and citizen of this town. So I'm expressing an opinion as to we, as part of the we, that want to retain the commercial life.
Good discussion. Anything else? Any other questions, comments? No? Anyone else? Okay. Like to make a motion on the referral? Like to make a motion to approve with a recommendation that we don't allow any entrance or exit onto Spencer Plains Road.
Second one.
Any questions or comments on the motion?
Is your adequate queuing, is that an issue, or are you gonna rely on the traffic study?
I'm gonna rely on the traffic study and zone. Yeah,
Trust and conduct. What dangerous times.
sometimes.
Could I know you're at the point of having make a, but could I have a question as to the motion? You said no entrance
Or exit on
or
Spencer Plains.
exit. And I think then the queuing would not be up to conduct, because there would not be any queuing onto
That's it.
Spencer Plains Road. So I just
Good point.
I just wanted to
Excellent point.
The queuing could go back into the parking lot.
Right.
Yeah, but that's internal. That has
Yeah,
nothing to do with,
I just don't want to see it on Spencer Plains.
I agree. I ride that road all the time. If I
Right.
don't have to, I mean, I ride.
I know you
that
do,
road.
yeah.
So if I don't have to worry about two other,
more directly.
I wouldn't be on a bike on that road any amount of time.
6 in the morning, it's not.
No, 6 in the morning is fine. I gotta wait. All right. Any other questions or comments on the motion?
You could add, in that it's consistent with Old Saybrook's role as a regional commercial hub. Consistent with a plan of conservation development.
I do think it is consistent with the plan. I do understand where Megan's coming from. I agree, but I don't think this is a place where we want residential development.
The motion might want to be amended because you could actually get an entrance right past the pet store. As shown, I agree.
Yeah,
As shown, I agree with it.
I think we can only go by what's shown.
Bingo,
I can't predict what's gonna happen in the future.
right.
We're not traffic engineers.
No, when I play one on Wednesdays.
Did you see the Holiday Inn Express last night?
Yeah, yes, I did. Anything else? Hearing nothing, all those in favor, aye. Any opposed? Any abstains? Thank you. We're okay.
Thank you.
With an exception. Thank you. Have a great holiday.
Yeah, thank you. Thank all of you.
Yours. All that paper.
Yeah, I'll just take this to my niece's house on Christmas and give her daughter's crayons.
Yeah.
I'll be doing a line.
Right?
That's a
We're still going.
big Thursday.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Do you want committee reports?
Oh, sure.
Doug, you're killing us.
Yeah. Is there a game? Yeah, no, I just wanted to talk about, so we had a regional planning committee meeting and, we discussed septic system design. And I had brought that up as part of our last, infrastructure discussion. And there was a lot of energy. So the river cog is 17 towns up and down the Connecticut River. And, you know, so we get the strength of the bigger group. But as I understand it, and I just had a septic system installed like 2 weeks ago. So the design criteria, the design requirements are 150 gallons per day per bedroom. So if you have a 3-bedroom house, it's 450 gallons per day. They say right in the letter that the state sends you, but we recommend you use 300 gallons per day because that's the normal usage. So they built in the safety factor like 50%, and it is not inexpensive. No, it's water over the dam for me, but when you look at the impact on economic growth and, you know, people trying to buy a house or build a business, it's very impactful. So, you know, I'm not a septic engineer, but there was discussion that, you know, possibly 50 gallons a day is a reasonable assumption, given the efficiency of today's toilets, shower heads, you know, everybody's using less water. So I just wanted to share it. It's getting traction at the regional planning committee level, and I think it needs to be a strong section in our infrastructure report that the state revisit the design standards and make them more reasonable. It's choking the economic development of the state. It just adds to the, you know, it's more bureaucracy, more cost.
Well, it's gonna add to the cost of any new home.
Exactly.
And that's, we want to build new homes, but we want to keep them affordable. Well, we could do that. Here,
Right, and we have the sea level rise issues here that are going to affect septic systems and
Yep.
neighborhoods. So if you're building a neighborhood system, think about it, a 50% safety factor on a neighborhood system. I mean, you're talking big. cost.
absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, just if I may
Yeah.
make a brief report on inland wetlands, since usually there isn't enough to report. But I was not surprised that the SPR Oasis application was once again continued because it's been in inland wetlands on and off since at least May and April and this early spring, and you know, they're trying to deal with you know, trying to move the ponds around or how to fit everything in and try to, anyway, so that's what's going on.
Okay.
And unfortunately, my concern is, I mean, when you see all the plans and all the people showing up at multiple meetings and reports and soil scientists, it just makes it very expensive.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my report.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Now, can I make a motion to adjourn? Get a second. Thank you. All those in favor? Say aye. One thing I do want to mention that I've been listening to, it's a podcast. It's called How We Survive. And season 2 is out, and it's all about sea level rise and what's happening in Miami. Very fascinating. Next week's drop is the end of the series, and they're going to talk about retreat.
Cool.
Yeah, so very interesting.
No, so it's on Apple or,
No, wherever you get a podcast, it's Marketplace,
okay.
and you know
What is it called?
How We Survive.